Hello, my name is Arizona Hummingbird. Thank you for listening to my presentation of my Receiving Operations Characteristic Model project. For my Receiving Operation Characteristics Model project, I chose the dataset Banking Project Term Deposit Prediction by Pooja Jain. A term deposit is a fixed-term investment that includes the deposit of money into an account at a financial institution. Term deposit investments usually carry short-term maturities ranging from 1 month to a few years and will have varying levels of required minimum deposits. That is just a little background of what my project is about, what the data set is about. My prediction, so I have 3 predictions. One is a majority of what my project is about, but I have 2 other speculations just by looking at the data set that I predicted. So the first one is that my prediction is that the independent variables listed are a prediction of the term deposit decision. I also have speculations that the independent variable, which is my second prediction, campaign, is also a predictor of a customer saying yes to a term deposit. The higher number of campaigns, the more likely they're going to say yes to a term deposit. I also have speculations that there is high correlation between the outcome of the previous campaign to the customers, and if they said yes to the next campaign, that they will say yes to the next campaign, which will be the term deposit. I will conduct many formulas and functions on Excel to confirm or study these predictions further. A little more background about my data set. So 1,000 observations, 17 independent variables, 1 dependent variable. And this is my data notebook for my dependent and independent variables. There's a lot of information on the screen, and I apologize for that, but this is a description that will help you further understand my predictions and my data set and all of the next formulas and information I will give to you. But I coded each data column besides duration, campaign, P days, and previous because they were already in numerical form. The other independent variables, I use nested and non-nested if statements in Excel to code them. For the independent variable month and day of week, I had to code twice. I assigned a day of week to the number, then a day of week to them, and then broke them down to the first half of the week and first half of the year. So month 1, I assigned 1 to January, 2 to February. Month 2, 1 is assigned to January through June. And then for the independent variables duration and P days, I divided by 10 for the days and 100 for P days to avoid numbers become really large down the road when multiplying. I assigned 0, 1, and 2 to independent variables, various independent variables in my Excel document. And at the bottom is my term deposit, which is my, the bottom is my dependent variable, which is my term deposit. And this will be classified as 1 for yes to term deposit and 0 for no term deposit. For analyzing my data set, I used various amounts of formulas and functions on Excel. First is my logit equation, and I realized I did not list it in here. I could probably attach that later on. I submit this. The next one, I will be using the exp function. I'm returning value of the constant e raised to the power of a given number. Second one, third one, conditional probability to compute the probability of an event given that another event has already occurred. Next one will be the logarithm of each record, finding the inverse function to exponentation using logarithm, and the true and false positive rates to see how many positive and negative cases that I got right. I will run solver on Excel to find the optimum solution, and I use GRG nonlinear and then evolutionary. And then area under the curve to provide a summary of how good my model performance is as a whole. And outside of the steps that were listed on D2L by Professor Willis, I will be using regression and correlation. I will use the regression tool on Excel to determine whether effect of independent variables depend on the value of another variable. And I will use correlation function on Excel to examine the correlation between variables. Finally, I will insert a graphical plot of the ROC curve to illustrate the diagnostic ability of a binary classification system. And that's the majority of the functions and formulas that I used on this project. So now to get to the results of all of the formulas, the functions, and all of the work that I put into this project. So first I'll go over the regression analysis. Here are the results from the first regression analysis, analyzing the relationship between the independent variable P outcome and the dependent variable term deposit. My speculation that the outcome of the last campaign would confirm a yes for a term deposit was wrong, as my multiple R is less than 1 by far, showing a very weak relationship. My second regression analysis analyzes the relationship between my independent variables and my dependent variable, term deposit. My multiple R was on the positive side, showing a stronger correlation or relationship. So at the very top under regression statistics, it'll say 0.62. Therefore, on the higher side of showing a strong relationship between all of my independent variables and my dependent variable. And then here are the results of the two correlation formulas that I computed in Excel. So for the first one, I analyzed the relationship between the independent variable campaign and dependent variable term deposit. My answer was a negative 0.3 or 0.03, showing no correlation. My second Corel formula computed the relationship between my independent variable P outcome and dependent variable term deposit. This was a 0.3, showing a semi-strong relationship, not too strong of a correlation, but obviously higher than the other one. And these are the results of the ROC model project, the majority of the project, the point of it. So this is my ROC curve. Obviously, it's not a great curve. However, at points 0.47, 0.47, and 0.71, 0.79, and 0.81, 0.83, and 0.86, 0.96, the curve goes up, and at those various points, it goes up, showing a slightly better fit. To calculate my area under curve, I did the true, false, positive, true, and false positive rate calculation, showing a 0.71, which is decent. It's not a 0.9, but it also isn't a 0.3, showing a decent area under the curve. And then I also received a percent OK of 0.61, showing half of my guesses were correct. So these are results of my ROC model analyzing the term deposit data set off of Kaggle. And here is my references. To conclude, my prediction that the independent variables in the data set were not strong predictors of the term deposit decision. And thank you so much for your time.